So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
Dollar bond.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
To interfere in an election on behalf of crooked Joe Biden.
Ticket changes, assassination attempts, lawfare, mugshots, ballot measures, Kid Rock. The 2024 presidential election was historic for many reasons. All of them, however, were secondary to the fact that you were being manipulated through this at all times on all fronts at a scale never before experienced in American history. And it was done by playing on your cognitive functions, with the 2024 election results closely following cognitive function split. TLDR, cognitive functions influence on the 2024 election. Trump T productivity beat Harris FE vibes. What are cognitive functions, and how are they used to influence behavior? It's important to understand these cognitive building blocks so you can be more aware of subtle influences and make more deliberate decisions. We live in an era of mass media. This could alternately be termed an era of mass propaganda. We are all inexorably embedded in a sea of information, absorbing and repropagating messages all day, every day. Campaign managers are aware of this and use their best psychological understanding to tailor messaging for maximum influence. In this video, they'll introduce cognitive theory, illustrate how each campaign used opposite approaches based on this theory, and show how this predicts the same outcome we saw in the 2024 election. Welcome to 4D Personality, a channel focused on helping people integrate different dimensions of their personality. The term propaganda came from this guy, who was a nephew of this guy, and an uncle to this guy. No one rules alone. How cognitive theory shapes political campaigns. Power involves inspiring others to act on your behalf.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
That's the wrong number!
Much time has been spent considering how to garner influence and increase power. Political campaigns exemplify this principle as they harness collective action through psychology, persuasion, and strategy. For the past few months, every news outlet and their mother has been conducting election postmortems, and there is a comical lack of self-reflection going on. But just because the media doesn't understand self-reflection doesn't mean we have to hang back with them. For starters, we should understand the psychological drivers that influence us and how to better identify when they are being used. At the heart of this effort lies cognitive theory, a framework that illuminates how individuals process information, form beliefs, and ultimately make decisions. Cognitive theory. Cognitive theory, CT, is a psychological framework that explores how individuals perceive, learn, and decide. It focuses on cognitive processes and their influence on individuals' behaviors, attitudes, and actions. CT creates a map of how individuals process the world. Unlike behaviorism, which only focuses on external stimuli and observable behavior, CT emphasizes the cognitive activities that occur between stimuli and responses.
We've talked about cognition before. We usually refer to it as the process that we use to think and solve crossword puzzles and stuff, but really, cognition involves knowing, remembering, understanding, communicating, and to a certain extent, learning. And as truly wonderful as our brains are, we can be spectacularly bad at all of these things. We used to think that our cognition worked like a computer, logically processing information. But that cabbage-sized chunk of pink, wet brain matter in your skull can do a lot more than math, and the things that it does are certainly not always logical. Many experts argue that it's cognition that makes us truly human, and that everything that comes with it, our preferences, prejudices, fears, and intuitions, are what make us the individuals that we are.
Core concepts of cognitive theory. Perception, how individuals interpret sensory information to form an understanding of the environment. Decision-making, strategies and methods used to navigate challenges and problem solve. Attention, the ability to focus on specific information while filtering out distractions. Language, the way individuals use language to communicate and process information. Learning, the acquisition of knowledge and skills through experience, observation, and reasoning. There are numerous applications of CT from education, therapy, marketing, leadership, AI, and the topic of today, politics. For example, in education, CT helps in designing effective teaching methods by understanding how students learn and process information. In therapy, cognitive behavior therapy is a treatment based on cognitive theory and focuses on changing maladaptive thought patterns to improve mental health. In marketing, understanding how consumers process information helps craft messages that resonate and influence purchasing decisions. In AI, the study of cognitive processes influences the development of artificial intelligence and machine learning systems designed to mimic human thought. And in politics, CT better enables targeted message framing, coalition building, and voter engagement. This analysis will reference cognitive concepts from the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI. The MBTI is a tool for rapid, scalable measurement of individual cognitive preferences. It was developed by a mother-daughter pair, Catherine Briggs and Isabel Briggs-Myers. These concepts include the cognitive functions of sensing, intuition, feeling, and thinking, each combining with either introverted or extroverted charges. These 8 cognitive drivers mix in various ways to result in 16 distinct typical behavior expressions. Cognitive theory shapes political campaigns by helping strategists understand how individuals process information, form beliefs, and make decisions. By aligning messaging and strategies with the cognitive function preferences of the target audience, campaigns can increase engagement, influence voting behavior, and shape public perception. 2024 election. The 2024 presidential election was historic for many reasons. Ticket changes, assassination attempts, lawfare, mugshots, ballot measures, Kid Rock. The election went beyond this confluence of 2024 factors, however. There's been a hungering populist movement bubbling under the crust of the American surface since 2008's Occupy Wall Street swing and miss. There was a thoroughly defeated RNC left wide open for new leadership. And there was a strong contingent of disaffected Democrats that were able to rally diverse thought leadership into place for a vivacious movement. And perhaps most compellingly, there was a distrust in institutional systems and their repetitive promises and condemnations. There are so many aspects to analyze in this election. But what is more interesting and individually relevant is to analyze the underlying cognitive theory that manipulates and frames these events. And the best place to start is by looking at the cognitive function drivers, the unseen strings that guide our conscious and subconscious alignment. Cognitive drivers. There are 8 different cognitive function drivers that we balance. All cognition, that is, your conscious awareness, falls into one of these 8 buckets. We individually use all 8 drivers in different amounts, preferring 4 of them and emphasizing one in particular. The preferred drivers determine your cognitive type, and the deferred drivers determine your cognitive shadow. It's like being left versus right-handed. If you know which side someone prefers using, then you also know which side they defer using. These 8 cognitive drivers are explorative extroverted sensing, SE, investigative introverted sensing, SI, interpretive extroverted intuition, NE, contemplative introverted intuition, NI, harmonious extroverted feeling, FE, authentic introverted feeling, FI, efficient extroverted thinking, TE, accurate introverted thinking, TI. Campaign components. Campaigns, be they political, marketing, or social, aim to tap into cognitive drivers to influence populations en masse. There are 3 primary angles we will consider the 2024 presidential campaigns from to assess their cognitive framing. The party convention, represented by the candidate's convention speech. The platform commitments, represented by the candidate's stated issues. And Posse, the endorsements, represented by the candidate's public-facing supporters. Process. We aggregated the 3 campaign components, party, platform, and posse, for both presidential candidates, Trump and Harris. We then developed a team of experts from diverse backgrounds using LLMs. We consulted these experts and asked them to identify cognitive function expression, considering the cognitive driver prevalence in alignment with each candidate's campaign. The final expression ratios were calculated based on an average of these expert analyses. A spotlight of the 5 expert models are below. Overall results. Leveraging the 3 campaign components, party, platform, and posse, as inputs, we shared the aggregated information with each of the 5 experts. High level, these experts identified stark, recurring cognitive differences between the Trump and Harris campaigns. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the two campaigns were diametrically opposed cognitively speaking. The Trump campaign emphasized efficient, extroverted thinking, which resonates with 52% of the population and skews heavily male, and the Harris campaign emphasized harmonious, extroverted feeling, which resonates with 48% of the population and skews heavily female. This diametric opposition was seen, to a lesser extent, throughout the remaining 6 cognitive drivers. The Trump campaign resonated with efficient, extroverted thinking, explorative, extroverted sensing, contemplative, introverted intuition, and authentic, introverted feeling. The Harris campaign resonated with harmonious, extroverted feeling, investigative, introverted sensing, interpretive, extroverted intuition, and accurate, introverted thinking. Trump versus Harris. Total. The experts identified the campaign's fault lines were split primarily across judging functions of efficient, extroverted thinking and harmonious, extroverted feeling. By extending that to demographic trends and exit polling, we see these projections aligned to election results. Given the campaign messaging, we would anticipate the Trump TE campaign to resonate with 52% of the population and to be male-skewed, and the Harris FE campaign to resonate with 48% of the population and to be female-skewed. We can see that if people were playing it straight based on dominant cognitive function drivers, we'd expect a Trump victory driven by a strong resonance with male voters. The reality of the popular election results, 48% to 50%, closely mirrors this cognitive swag, 48% versus 52%, indicating that the campaigns did indeed effectively reach each respective cognitive block. Now we'll examine various campaign components, party, platform, posse, to see how each campaign tailored cognitive messaging to reach their audience, starting with party. Party. 80 million Americans, 45% of registered voters, have a party affiliation. Historically speaking, these voters are 95% likely to vote along party lines. While we saw a slight divergence from this trend in 2024, the underlying trend still holds that party-affiliated voters are likely to vote along party lines. To that effect, it is important to consider how each party presented itself to their voters in 2024. The DNC and RNC conventions are among the most public displays for the party. The candidate's speeches during the convention demonstrates how the candidate aligns with the party vision. It also represents the official endorsement from the party. By considering how Trump and Harris presented themselves during convention speeches, we see cognitive trends emerge. Trump versus Harris. Party. The cognitive trends observed during the party conventions are largely consistent with overall results, albeit somewhat less polarized. This indicates that the initial political fault lines were identified here and expanded upon throughout the presidential campaign. Trump's convention speech led in explorative extroverted sensing, interpretive extroverted intuition, contemplative introverted intuition, and efficient extroverted thinking, consistent with overall results. His engagement with interpretive extroverted intuition here was slightly higher compared to his overall campaign, and his use of authentic introverted feeling messaging wasn't as pronounced as it became later. Trump emphasized explorative extroverted sensing through vivid descriptions and observable data points.
Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right.
Describes a vivid, real-time visual experience referencing the screen and data.
Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
Describes a sensory experience of the crowd's audible reaction. Captures a dramatic physical gesture and interaction with the environment.
These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody sitting over there.
Focuses on the aesthetic and physical attributes of tangible objects, ships. He emphasized interpretive extroverted intuition by exploring multiple possibilities, generating novel ideas, and connecting different concepts.
Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that.
Opens the door to envisioning higher possibilities and innovative leadership.
If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine?
Broadly connects the rise of AI to energy requirements and societal challenges.
We will unleash the power of American innovation, and as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Explores the expansive possibilities of scientific and technological advancements. He emphasized contemplative introverted intuition by reflecting on a long-term strategic vision.
As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America.
Identifies a singular, unifying vision for the nation's future.
Make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled.
Synthesizes multiple data points to create a single narrative of economic decline.
They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation, and we've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had.
Uses historical analysis to focus on the broader implications of inflation. Trump emphasized efficient extroverted thinking, results-driven messaging throughout his speech.
Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
This reflects a clear focus on actionable goals and structured societal improvements.
And give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that.
Emphasis on specific financial investments and their outcomes showcases extroverted thinking.
And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless green new scam ideas.
The focus on reallocating resources for practical purposes aligns with extroverted thinking's efficiency-driven approach. Harris Convention speech led in investigative introverted sensing, harmonious extroverted feeling, authentic introverted feeling, and accurate introverted thinking, largely consistent with overall results. Her engagement with feeling here was slightly higher versus the overall campaign, and her use of interpretive extroverted intuition wasn't as emphasized as it became later. During the convention, Harris emphasized harmonious extroverted feeling by focusing on emotional unity, interpersonal relationships, and collective values.
And Doug and I love you and Jill and are forever thankful to you both.
Highlights relational warmth and appreciation towards specific individuals.
And to the delegates and everyone who has put your faith in our campaign, your support is humbling.
Recognizes the collective emotional investment of supporters.
They instilled in us the values they personified: community, faith, and the importance of treating others as you would want to be treated, with kindness, respect, and compassion.
Emphasizes shared values of harmony and mutual respect. She emphasized authentic introverted feeling by
My mother, our mother, Shamala Harris, had one of her own, and I miss her every day, and especially right now. And I know she's looking down, smiling.
Expresses a deeply personal and heartfelt connection to her mother's memory.
But my father would say, as he smiled, "Run, Kamala, run. Don't be afraid. Don't let anything stop you." From my earliest years, he taught me to be fearless.
Highlights a personal value of courage deeply rooted in early formative experiences.
So one day I asked if everything was all right, and she confided in me that she was being sexually abused by her stepfather. And I immediately told her she had to come stay with us, and she did. This is one of the reasons I became a prosecutor.
Reveals a strong personal sense of responsibility and empathy toward a friend in distress. She emphasized accurate introverted thinking by focusing on internal logical consistency, critical analysis, and personalized frameworks for understanding concepts and solving problems.
Because I believe everyone has a right to safety, to dignity, and to justice.
Shows a core belief grounded in deeply personal and authentic values.
As a prosecutor, when I had a case, I charged it not in the name of the victim, but in the name of the people.
Explains the reasoning behind a professional approach, focusing on systematic principles rather than external emotional factors.
And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
Outlines a logical sequence of actions to achieve a specific goal based on legal and procedural reasoning. She emphasized investigative introverted sensing by grounding in personal and collective history, emphasizing specific memories, traditions, and detailed recollections. These moments connect the past to the present, providing a stable foundation for her values and vision.
I will always remember that big Mayflower truck packed with all our belongings, ready to go to Illinois, to Wisconsin, and wherever our parents' jobs took us.
Recalls detailed and specific memories from childhood, emphasizing personal past experiences.
She rented a small apartment in the East Bay. In the Bay, you either live in the hills or the flatlands. We lived in the flats.
Draws on precise recollections of her childhood home and its surroundings.
She taught us to never complain about injustice, but do something about it. Do something about it.
Reflects a principle-based approach to addressing issues, emphasizing personal responsibility. The party convention established each candidate's framing within the party during this election cycle. Trump's campaign began to resonate with efficient extroverted thinking, and Harris' campaign with harmonious extroverted feeling. These political fault lines were demarcated here and expanded upon throughout the presidential campaign. After candidacy is formalized and the convention held, it is vital for each candidate to clarify campaign platforms. These positions represent the promise the candidate makes to the voting body. Let's compare Trump and Harris' campaign platforms to understand how they resonated with different cognitive drivers. Platform. The campaign platform is both a communication strategy and a practical tool for voter engagement, grounded in psychological, strategic, and analytical insights. It serves as a cognitive anchor that simplifies the complexities of a candidate's beliefs, goals, and policies into digestible themes. It connects with key voter demographics by addressing their most pressing concerns while distinguishing the candidate from opponents. By considering these platforms and their stated commitments, the following trends emerge. Trump versus Harris. Platform. Trump's platform led in efficient extroverted thinking, explorative extroverted sensing, interpretive extroverted intuition, and contemplative introverted intuition, largely consistent with overall results. His engagement with interpretive intuition here was slightly above overall campaign levels, and his use of authentic introverted feeling messaging wasn't as pronounced as it became later. Trump emphasized efficient, extroverted thinking, results-driven messaging throughout his platform focus on pragmatic solutions, external results, and structured implementation. They highlight goal-oriented actions and policy frameworks aimed at addressing practical problems effectively and efficiently.
We will complete the border wall, shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement, and use advanced technology to monitor and secure the border.
A clear, actionable plan emphasizing efficiency and external implementation.
The Republican Party will reverse the worst inflation crisis in 4 decades that has crushed the middle class.
A focus on solving economic issues through structured policies.
We will slash regulations that stifle jobs, freedom, innovation, and make everything more expensive.
A systematic approach to reducing barriers to productivity. Explorative extroverted sensing was emphasized with immediate, practical, and sensory-oriented action statements and observations. They focus on tangible results, real-world interventions, and visible changes that reflect a strong orientation toward engaging with the physical environment to solve problems and achieve goals.
We will implement measures to secure our elections, including voter and highly sophisticated paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and same-day voting.
Outlines specific physical implementations to safeguard the election process.
The United States has more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, and it's not even close.
Emphasizes the physical reality of natural resources and their abundance as a driving force for energy policies.
We will rebuild our cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again.
Stresses the sensory and visual outcome of urban renewal efforts. Interpretive extroverted intuition was demonstrated via open, possibility-driven statements, envisioning innovative, multifaceted solutions and connections between ideas to address challenges and create opportunities. The focus is on generating numerous forward-looking ideas and alternatives for growth, stability, and innovation.
Republicans will unleash energy production from all sources, including nuclear, to immediately slash inflation and power American homes, cars, and factories.
Explores various avenues of energy production to create multiple solutions to current economic challenges.
Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto kraken and oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency.
Opens up new opportunities for innovation and freedom in financial technology through alternative approaches.
We will rebuild our alliance network in the region to ensure a future of peace, stability, and prosperity.
Anticipates a network of alliances contributing to a range of global outcomes, suggesting interconnected possibilities. Contemplative introverted intuition was emphasized in the focus on long-term visions, interconnected systems, and overarching principles. They demonstrate a tendency to foresee future possibilities and derive meaning from historical and current trends to shape a transformative agenda.
We commit to rebalancing trade, securing strategic independence, and revitalizing manufacturing.
Reflects a deep understanding of interconnected systems and the long-term impact of economic independence.
We will make America energy independent and then energy dominant, lowering energy prices even below the record lows achieved during President Trump's first term.
A strategic vision that connects current energy policies to future dominance and economic stability.
We will bring the American dream back by making it affordable again for families, young people, and everyone.
Envisions a holistic transformation of society by addressing affordability and opportunity. Harris platform led in harmonious extroverted feeling, investigative introverted sensing, and authentic introverted feeling, largely consistent with overall results. Her engagement with feeling here was slightly higher versus overall Harris campaign, and her expression of interpretive extroverted intuition wasn't as emphasized as it became later through her endorsements. Harmonious extroverted feeling was emphasized with emotional resonance, community values, inclusivity, and shared societal goals. These instances reflect an effort to harmonize individual needs with the collective good and appeal to the audience's sense of fairness, unity, and shared responsibility.
Vice President Harris promises to be a president for all Americans, a president who unites us around our highest aspirations, and a president who always fights for the American people.
Focuses on inclusivity and shared values, appealing to collective harmony and unity.
She believes that when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Connects economic policy to a collective sense of national strength and well-being.
Vice President Harris and Governor Walz believe that working families deserve a break.
reflects concern for fairness and emotional support for struggling families. Investigative introverted sensing was emphasized with personal and historical references, grounded in past experiences and achievements. These details highlight a connection to proven results and lessons learned, showcasing a reliance on what has worked and been established over time.
As a prosecutor, attorney general, senator, and now vice president for the United States, Kamala Harris always stood up for the people against predators, scammers, and powerful interests.
Refers to Harris's personal experiences and established track record in her career.
She cast the deciding vote on the American Rescue Plan, which made historic investments in the care economy.
Points to a specific, pivotal moment in Harris' tenure as vice president.
Her eye-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act gave Medicare the power to go toe-to-toe with Big Pharma and negotiate lower drug prices.
Focuses on her direct involvement in past legislation that had tangible results. Authentic introverted feeling was emphasized via Vice President Harris's personal values, moral convictions, and sense of empathy. These examples reflect how her inner emotional compass guides her actions and policy priorities, grounded in fairness, justice, and individual dignity.
Vice President Kamala Harris has made clear that building up the middle class will be a defining goal of her presidency.
Reflects her deeply held personal value of fairness and commitment to economic equality.
She believes no child in America should live in poverty, and these actions would have a historic impact.
Indicates her internal conviction about the moral importance of eradicating poverty.
3, as president, she will never allow a national abortion ban to become law.
Reflects a strong internal moral stance on protecting reproductive freedom. The platform policies reinforced each candidate's positioning and promises to the voters. Trump's campaign further resonated with efficient extroverted thinking, and Harris' campaign with harmonious extroverted feeling. These political fault lines were reinforced through the platform, and now candidates had an opportunity to augment any shortcomings with their endorsements. Now that the candidacy has been formalized and the positions have been clarified, candidates need to rally their hype teams of endorsers to build enthusiasm throughout their respective bases. These endorsements represent a pre-existing follower base that the campaign hopes to leverage. They also aim to project the virtuous qualities of the endorser onto the candidate. Let's compare Trump and Harris campaign endorsements to understand how they resonated with different cognitive drivers. Posse. The purpose of campaign endorsements is to serve as social proof, signals, and cognitive shortcuts that influence voter perceptions and decisions. Endorsements leverage the halo effect, where positive qualities of a celebrity, e.g., trustworthiness, popularity, are transferred to the candidate. This simplifies decision-making for voters who might be uncertain or uninformed about the candidate's policies. Endorsements can also amplify a campaign's reach and bolster its appeal to key voter demographics, especially younger or disengaged voters. By considering these endorsements and their associated personas, the following cognitive trends emerge. Trump versus Harris. Posse. Trump's posse led in efficient, extroverted thinking, contemplative, introverted intuition, explorative, extroverted sensing, and authentic, introverted feeling, consistent with overall results. We see his strongest scores for contemplative, introverted intuition and authentic, introverted feeling come through this component, indicating he wisely augmented these drivers with his endorsements. Trump cultivated support from a coalition of alternative and free thinkers, such as Mel Gibson, Joe Rogan, RFK Jr. He also augmented some of his campaign shortcomings, such as lack of contemplative, introverted imagination, by developing a strategic coalition with people associated with this function, for example, Elon Musk. Trump's endorsements included many exploratory, extroverted sensing, action-driven figures like Kid Rock, Brett Favre, Tulsi Gabbard, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Trump's visionary endorsements, such as Elon Musk, resonate strongly with contemplative, introverted intuition. Trump has strong authenticity-driven, introverted feeling endorsements from folks like RFK Jr., and Trump further bolstered his extroverted thinking with efficiency-oriented endorsements from organizational figures like trade union leaders and Dana White. The Harris posse led in harmonious extroverted feeling, investigative introverted sensing, and interpretive extroverted intuition, largely consistent with overall results. Harris cultivated support from mainstream celebrities and institutional Republicans, such as Beyoncé, Oprah, and Liz Cheney. Harris strengthened her resonance with investigative introverted sensing, leveraging tradition-oriented endorsements like Al Sharpton and George Bush. Harris endorsements included interpretive extroverted intuition with innovative lifestyles figures such as Eminem and Bad Bunny. And Harris further bolstered her harmonious, extroverted feeling alignment with people-focused endorsements from Cher, Usher, and Taylor Swift. These differences spurred on Trump's resonance with efficient, extroverted thinking and Harris' resonance with harmonious, extroverted feeling. Now, with the convention, policies, and endorsements in place, each candidate was ready to head into November 5th.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
To recap, based on party, platform, and posse, Trump was positioned to win efficient, extroverted, thinking-driven voting blocks, and thus on track to win the popular vote. Through his campaign, he made efforts to support explorative, extroverted sensing, contemplative, introverted intuition, and authentic, introverted feeling positions. The Harris campaign was diametrically opposed. But how does this apply to me? Know yourself, your typical motivators, and blind spots. Maybe you agree with Trump. Maybe you agree with Harris. But if you only rely on your conscious cognitive functions and ignore your unconscious drivers, you risk being fully manipulated. For instance, if you tend to prioritize efficient, extroverted thinking, you are likely also unspokenly motivated by authentic, introverted feeling, and somewhat neglect accurate, introverted thinking and harmonious, extroverted feeling. Know these things about yourself. Understand tactics used to influence you. Identify the drivers being emphasized and look for what is being left unsaid. If a particular perspective is being suppressed, consider why beyond superficial reasons. For instance, a campaign may focus on past history with investigative, introverted sensing if they don't have strong, innovative, contemplative, introverted intuition plans. Filter messages through each of the different perspectives to get to a fuller understanding of the truth. Consider the perspective of each cognitive driver to improve your total comprehension. For instance, if the messaging is hammering home harmonious vibes, ensure you're also considering how effective the plans will be. Conclusion: in politics, as in everyday life, understanding personal motivations is the key to meaningful engagement. CT offers a blueprint for you to identify these cognitive drivers and consciously harness their power. These cognitive function drivers are the fundamental building blocks of your conscious experience and the aspects of yourself you must develop for greater self-awareness. By becoming aware of these forces and methods, we can resist their influence. We become more discerning, more critical, and more resistant to tactics designed to penetrate into your subconscious. The presidential campaign may be over, but there is an ongoing, ceaseless campaign being waged for your attention. Like viruses, these campaigns are constantly looking for vectors into your internalized cognition to reproduce and further propagate. Be deliberate about your media consumption, and be aware of how your own personal cognitive light and shadow filter information. Use CT to better understand yourself and develop strategies that resonate deeply, motivate broadly, and drive real-world impact. CT highlights not just how to win elections, but how to shape our collective future through informed and intentional discourse. Know and grow thyself.